Good morning and welcome to the Onsen Budgie Smugglers with Yoshi and Crash, coming to you simultaneously live from Northcote in Melbourne and Kyoto in Japan. Good morning, Yosh, and welcome.
Good morning, Troy, and good morning, everyone. How's the weather now?
Mate, it's starting to chill off. We've got, I think, the coldest Easter in Melbourne in 80 years. But to be honest, it's not that bad. It's about 15 Celsius and we'll survive.
Nice. It's chilly today, like I think 7, 8 degrees, and maximum temperature will be like 15, I think. Bit chilly than yesterday or day before yesterday, or even like earlier this week. So, kind of, I get used to the warm weather. Today, like it's going back like the end of winter, so I prefer like a warm spring.
It seems like we're about on the same page today, so that's good. Even footing.
Yeah, all right.
You'll notice I've got the hoodie on today, so you can tell just by looking at it, it's a little bit cooler here.
I guess so. Yeah, I can guess that. Yeah.
All right, let's jump into our highs and lows for the week, mate. How about you kick it off?
Right. Hi. St. Kilda top on the radar, but yesterday cartoon won over North Melbourne, so St. Kilda are on the second at the moment, but hopefully tonight we can go back to the top of the radar.
Doesn't get much
Also,
higher than that.
yeah, that's good. Yeah. Also, I have more time to do exercise these days. That is good for my physical health and mental health.
Good stuff, mate. That's really good to hear.
That's my low. There are too many people here in Kyoto. I prefer to somewhere else now, of course. I just can't deal with like packed places, generally. So I just can't deal with it. Then when I ride a bike to tourist attractions and that there are too many people, then I feel like, oh no, too many, come on. Let me do the exercise.
It's hard life in the big city, mate. There's no doubt about that. Lots of people can certainly add to your stress, that's for sure.
That's my, and the problem here is like, over tourism. Like there are too many people coming at the same time. So, that's, then some tourists, complain about, seeing people rather than, tourist attractions, and they just, don't like it.
Well, onward and upward is all I can say. Keep working that exercise and getting that mental health relief through that method, I would say.
That's a good advice, Matt.
We'll go to my highs and lows. I'll start off with the low. I was at work on Friday afternoon and got a call late in the afternoon from the police telling me that my car had been stolen and that someone had broken into my house and taken my keys and stolen my car. And that was a bit of a shock to my system.
That's no good.
No, not good at all. Anyway, so I came home and met the police, and they'd sort of fingerprinted all around my house and done all their forensics, and then they went away. And then also the people who stole my car also had one of my credit cards and were spending money on that. So
That's
that was
no good.
so it was a real low. But anyway, it wasn't too long later that turned around. So the police did a really great job. One of the neighbours next door had got some CCTV footage, and the police recognised the criminals. And within a couple of hours, they called me and told me that my car was ready for me to come and pick up. And I went and picked it up, and it was undamaged, largely. And they had the two criminals handcuffed on the street, about to take them off to meet the magistrate.
That's good. That's good to hear that, Then So did you pick up nicely, or did you have to go to the garage to fix your car? Or
At this stage, there's only a tiny little bit of damage, so I probably will have to put it in and get it assessed and fixed, but very minor. So I'm very grateful that the police did such a good, quick job.
that's good. Also, like your neighbor, cooperated the investigation, right?
Yeah, she was very helpful, and I don't think if she hadn't have assisted, I don't think I would have my car back. So I'm very grateful to her for that.
Absolutely. Did you talk to your neighbor?
Yeah, yeah. When I came home, I talked to her, and then I talked to her again after they told me that they'd arrested the people who took my car, and she was very very relieved by that.
That's good. Did you go to work by train yesterday? Or
Yeah, so normally I drive to work most days, and this day in particular, I did take the train because it takes a bit longer to take the train. And it's the only day since I've been working my new job that I haven't taken my car. So it was very unusual that that's the day that they decided to break into my house, take my keys, and steal my car.
oh, that's a shame. Did you get back your keys?
Yeah, I have back all my keys. So yeah, it's all good. All ended well.
That's good to hear that.
Um,
Hopefully, that for you.
yeah, hopefully. So we'll move on to our topics of discussion for this week. So we like to just get a bit of a taste of what's going on in our respective countries. So Yosh, you've got a story for us?
Yeah, Japan is running out of a space of body chickens caused over bird flu.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've been worried about coronavirus for so long, but bird flu is still sort of going along in the background in places. And obviously in Japan, they've had to cull a lot of chickens to stop the spread of bird flu.
That's right. Yeah. In Hokkaido, bird flu is spread out so quickly that more than 20% of chickens have been killed over 2 weeks.
It's
It's
terrible,
terrible, yeah.
terrible for the chickens. Also terrible for the farmers, no doubt. It must cost a lot of money.
I guess so, yeah. The farmers and the local government, had to kill chickens. Then, but also 26 prefectures reported the bird flu and killed chickens as well. Then 16 of 26 prefectures have no space or run out the space or small space to bury these chickens. That's the issue.
So what will they do when they run out of space?
Probably they just burn out, in some place. I'm not sure. I heard that they try to burn the chickens, dead chickens.
That does not sound good.
No good.
We'll move on to my story because I think I've got a potential solution here. Um,
Yeah.
so my story is 5 sharks reported in Western Australian waters in one day this week. So lots of great white sharks reported off Perth, where lots of people will be out swimming, enjoying the beaches, some better
Yeah.
water weather than here in Melbourne. Coming into Easter, so it's very popular. Everyone getting down the beach and having a swim. But I think
Yeah.
maybe we could ship those chickens over to Perth to feed the sharks.
Yeah, that's a good stuff. Yeah. Um, 5 sharks have been reported in the beach. Then people cannot, get into the ocean, right?
Yeah. So they have helicopters that fly over the beaches, the swimming beaches, and check for sharks. Among other
Yeah.
things, they're also there to rescue people and that sort of thing. But they're keeping an eye on where the sharks are and warning people not to go in the water if the sharks are close to the beach.
That's a good monitoring by the government, I think.
Yeah, very good. And it is quite common for people to be bitten or taken by sharks in Western Australia. Relatively
Yeah,
common compared to other places, just because there's such beautiful, clean waters over there, I think.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, like that, I have many, you okay?
Yeah, I'm
Many,
good.
you know, many cases about, killed by the sharks. I
Yeah,
heard a story. Then, the government, monitoring on by helicopter.
yeah. So,
Nice.
maybe we could make those sharks not so hungry and give them a whole lot of bird flu chickens.
Yeah, of course, like should be press far end at the sea, not on the in the beach.
Yeah, don't dump them on the beach.
Nah,
They'll come back for a feed.
that's right.
All right. So you briefly mentioned moving on to footy talk that
Yeah.
the how the footy ladder looked at the end of round 3. You want to just remind us who was on top of the ladder?
I'm very happy about that. With 15, 14 injuries and St. Kilda on the top of the ladder, like, the Ross Down showed, you know, the brand of the footy, demonstrated in the footy field, like, put under the pressure to the opponent and St. Kilda found the right space, like, even like a kicks from turnovers, that's a good stuff, like, even like, we stopped the Western Bulldogs in like first first quarter, then until the mid quarter, sorry, until the second quarter. Um, then St. Kilda, the opponent like Western Bulldogs also like Essendon last week fought back, but we stopped very hard like a calm wicket, like you go hard like the back lines defend very well. Then meanwhile like find a space like in the corner, then uh, kicked away for goals and St. Kilda won nicely. So I'm happy about that.
So has the difference this year so far been the new coach, Ross the
I
boss?
think so. Like a new coach has a better game plan rather than Brett Ratton, I'm sure. Then players show effort as well. That's I think Ross Rounds, philosophy, I reckon.
Yeah, well, I mean the proof's in the pudding. 3 and zip, and it's a great start.
That's
On
right.
on the other end of the ladder are the Hawks, my Hawks,
Mhm.
and a mighty thrashing by the Sydney Swans in round 2 up there in
Yeah.
Sydney. My good mate Benny Collins, who I mentioned in the last podcast that I went for a kick of the footy with,
Mm,
he was up there in the box up at the SCG, and
mm,
it was a terrible day to be a Hawthorn supporter, whether you were at the SCG or like me watching from a pub in Melbourne. The Hawks just really didn't put up much of a fight at all. And I think in the end, it was about an 80-point win, just under, was it? No, 81-point win to
gosh.
Sydney Swans. So it was a huge thrashing.
Mm,
Uh, the Hawks were firmly on the bottom of the ladder, and not much hope for Hawk supporters. But quickly things can turn around. Round 3, playing against North Melbourne, up against the old nemesis and former coach Alistair Clarkson,
yeah.
and that game played down in Tasmania in
Yeah.
Launceston, which is sort of Hawthorn's home away from home. The
Yeah.
Hawks managed to get a good win, I think, by about 18 points in the end over the Kangaroos, and get our first points of the season and get off the bottom of the ladder. So
Nice.
there's always hope, and good things can happen eventually if you wait.
That's a good attitude. Like, you must be very relieved and You strong believe Hawthorn win?
Yeah, look, I mean, we're still not a team that's going to challenge for the 8 or anything like that, but we are about rebuilding and getting the young guys up and going, and it was good to see, a number of our new players recruited over the last couple of years really stepping up in that game and playing well, and also good to see Geelong below us on the ladder after the end of round 3, winless.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of joy to be taken there as well. And of course, we will be playing Geelong on Monday afternoon in our sort of traditional Easter Monday clash, where it's always a very close game. But we'll talk a little bit more about that in the tips when we come into the tips.
No.
So why don't we do that now, Yosh, and have a look at the tips for this round?
Yeah. Right.
So,
Close versus free, or?
oh well, let's just have a look at the 2 games that have already happened this round first. Brisbane Collingwood. Who did you tip in the Brisbane Collingwood game?
I would. It's hard to chip, but I could chip Brisbane because of Brisbane's home game.
Yeah, same for me. I just tipped them because they're at home. And Brisbane getting a very handy 33-point win there on Thursday night, sorry. And the North Melbourne Carlton final yesterday at Marvel Stadium had, I think, about a 45,000 crowd there, and it looked very good.
49, I think. I was a game.
Yeah.
Like a good game, many Carlton and North Melbourne supporters, gathered at the Marvel Stadium. Which is good, also, I've seen so many young kids tune up the stadium, tune up the game. It's really, really nice to see kids, village supporting their teams, so passionately.
Absolutely. It was a great sight and a great crowd. And Carlton, in the end, getting the chocolates there by 23 points.
Yeah.
I had tipped the Blues mostly because of their good form and thinking that North Melbourne probably are not quite up to the standard of Carlton this year.
I'm the same with you. Carlton has more skills, brand fully. Then North Melbourne did well this year, but just below Carlton's skills.
So, yeah, as you said earlier, Carlton, with the only 2 games completed in the round, of course, for the moment, sitting on top of the ladder.
Yeah.
Adelaide Crows and Fremantle, Yosh, over in Adelaide today.
I chip Crows.
Yeah, Fremantle for me in that one. It'll be a close game, I think, and could go either way, no doubt. The Crows' home ground advantage and the home crowd there could give them the edge. But I'm going to go with Freo. I think Freo have been a little bit disappointing so far this season, and I think they might make amends for that today.
Right.
Richmond Bulldogs this afternoon.
I chip the Bulldogs. Bulldogs are coming back from 2 losses, they showed fast skills last week. Then hopefully the Bulldogs win today.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Bulldogs have a little bit of a shaky start to the season, but I think they're on the improve and they'll get over Richmond today.
Right.
The big one for you, Yosh, today?
Yeah.
St Kilda versus Gold Coast.
I'm chipping St Kilda comfortably.
Oh, well, there's a surprise. Who would have thought? I'll go with the Saints as well. I think it'll be a good close game, but I think the Saints will get over that one at Marvel.
Yeah.
Tonight, Sydney Swans versus Port Adelaide in Sydney.
So for my advantages, I go for the Swans.
Yeah, these two have had quite a rivalry over the last few years, and Port Adelaide travelling all right, but yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to go with the Swans at home on that small ground up there, the SCG. They just play it a bit better than anyone else, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if Port Adelaide give the upset here. They're such a hard team to tip.
Yeah, I agree.
Tomorrow, the Bombers and the GWS Giants.
She is a ball must fly up, up.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go with the Bombers as well in Melbourne. Yeah, GWS a little bit fired up after the Stephen Canelio
Yeah.
decision last week, and the inference that he is showing dissent a lot to the umpires has really fired up the club there. That might be the only thing. If they're fired up, they could come out and have a win. They certainly have a very talented list, but I think the Bombers at home.
Yeah.
Over in Perth tomorrow, West Coast host Melbourne.
Chip Demons.
Yeah, look, I think the Demons are, certainly a much better team at the moment than the West Coast. The home ground advantage will mean something to the home team, but don't think unless Melbourne are having an off day that they're really a chance to get too close to them.
Yeah.
And as I said, Easter Monday, Hawthorn Geelong at the MCG. Look, doesn't sort of really matter how good either of these teams are going over the sort of the past 10 years. The Easter Monday game is always a classic and pretty close. But
Yeah.
at the moment, the two teams sitting 17th and 18th on the ladder, it's going to be a good game, right? I'm going to go with the Hawks, obviously.
I'm going Hawks as well. Like Geelong are doing so bad as a reigning premier. Hawthorn won last week. I'm tipping Hawthorn.
Yeah. But don't be surprised if Geelong come out and smash Hawthorn.
I hope not.
Me too. Okay, let's quickly have a look at our round 5 tips as well, given that we're going to be 2 weeks till our next show. Adelaide Carlton next week on Thursday night, Adelaide Carlton.
Blues.
Blues for me. Friday night, Fremantle Gold Coast in Perth.
Fremantle.
Yep, same for me. Richmond, Sydney on Friday night.
Sydney Swans.
I'm going to go with the Tigers. Saturday, Brisbane North.
Brisbane Lions.
Yeah, definitely Brisbane. They're travelling quite nicely at the moment. Essendon, Melbourne.
Melbourne Demons.
I say Melbourne as well. The only query will be that return trip after going to Perth this week. It can affect teams, but Melbourne should win that. Port Adelaide Bulldogs.
Actually, the Bulldogs.
I'll go with Port Adelaide in Adelaide on the Saturday night there.
All right.
Geelong, West Coast.
Oh, it's a tough one to chip, but I feel like Geelong are not doing well, so I chip the West Coast.
Oh wow! So you're talking Geelong looking at zip and 5.
I can't believe that, but I feel like Geelong's cannot get up, so I go for I chip the West Coast Eagles.
Yeah, I'm going to give the Cats this one back in Melbourne. GWS Giants versus Hawthorn on Sunday.
Chip GWS, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'll take the Giants up there as well. And Collingwood, Sydney, that's going to be a cracking game on the late Sunday afternoon Melbourne time.
St Kilda, I believe St Kilda will win despite of their many injuries.
St Kilda will have the better form line, I believe, and would be deserved favourites in that match. So I'm going to go with the Saints as well, Yosh.
Cheers, mate.
So lots of good footy coming up. Now, over there in Japan, Yoshi, what is there any celebration of the Easter festival at all?
We don't celebrate Easter. Unfortunately, that's not we are not a Christian country, so it's totally different culture.
For sure.
So I'm sure, yeah. Yesterday was not public holiday either. Of course, obviously, Monday is like a normal, usual Monday. So we don't have a long weekend like you guys have.
Yeah, we've got a very long weekend. So we have both Friday and Monday holiday. So 4-day weekend. And I'll hopefully be having a couple of nice chocolate Easter eggs as we celebrate here tomorrow on Sunday.
That's good. Like I think a family on Sunday, like tomorrow.
Yes, yeah. Which will be a
Nice.
good day. I'll just give a little shout out to my mate Ben Collins, who I mentioned earlier that I go out and have a kick with. He watched the he watched our podcast last week and wanted me to let you know that the goalposts are now in the ground where we go and have kick to kick footy, and that he loves your work on the podcast, mate.
Nice. That's good.
All right, mate. You have a great weekend.
You too.
And we'll talk again in 2 weeks' time. Good luck to the Saints and good luck to everyone's teams.
Thanks. Yeah. Good luck with the horse as well.
See you, mate.
See you, mate.